this is just going to be a great resource for people who are just starting out or maybe aren't feeling real comfortable in Shopify yet and they want to dig in. All right. Well, hi, Angela.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi, Karla.
Hi.
So we're here today to talk about Shopify for beginners. And we have a bunch of questions we're going to talk through. And we know that this is just going to be a great resource for people who are just starting out or maybe aren't feeling real comfortable in Shopify yet and they want to dig in and hear a little bit more from you guys. So the first question is Shopify even good for beginners? If someone doesn't know anything, is Shopify the right e-commerce platform for them to be using?
I definitely think that it is like one of the most user-friendly platforms, along with it being robust. But, if you don't need all of those bells and whistles and extra features and integrations in the beginning, that's fine. It's something that you can at least grow with. I think a lot of times new business owners want to go for the cheapest option, which Shopify is not that expensive to begin with, but I understand like when you're first starting out, even $29.99 can feel like a lot, for something where you're not bringing in any revenue yet. But you also want to think about long-term, if you spend all of this time getting a website up and learning the system, is that a system that can also grow with you, as you go kind of thing. But yeah.
What about you, Karla? Do you ever hear from clients about how they are with with it being user-friendly?
Yeah, for sure. I completely echo the sentiments of Angela that it is totally scalable and easy to use. It's really plug. There's a little bit of learning curve, but other than that, it's pretty plug and play. Drop your products, set up your homepage, and you could go live in like a short period of time. So I fully agree with the sentiments, and I find that with the platforms that I'm currently working with, Shopify is definitely a really user-friendly and great for beginners.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally.
And then if you throw in brick and mortar on top of that, what about stores who have already been in operation for a while, but with a brick and mortar and they're moving into the online space? Would Shopify be a good choice for those folks?
Yeah, for sure. Shopify has got the full integration for a POS system. So even you can integrate with your POS system and integrates with quite a couple of POS systems. So depending on which one you are using, or there's also the Shopify POS system that can run your brick and mortar, and your online store can then be built from that, and both can run congruently on the site. So it's definitely, I would suggest it's a great platform. And if you do, looking at the Shopify POS would also be great.
And then vice versa, could somebody move from being just online to having a POS then? It sounds like that would work.
I think that's, this kind of like ties into both of these first questions, is that like, I think one of the things that's so cool about it integrating and just being like such a big player in the e-commerce industry is that if you ever need support or, even a web designer or a marketing specialist or, you want to use some obscure POS system, most likely you're going to be able to find a solution that will work with Shopify. Whereas if you're with some of these other e-commerce platforms, you might end up in a situation where you want to do something and your e-commerce system is limiting you. So I think that's something else, that's cool to consider, I guess.
Right. Well, like you said earlier, it's a platform that you can grow with.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It has that multiple sales channels that you can activate, brick and mortar being one of them, and some other channels, which Facebook and so.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Comment Soul is a really big one. So just whatever you're trying, different payment methods that are popular, Klarna, PayPal, Sezzle, that not every platform is going to integrate with. So you got your bases covered basically. And
Right.
it's easy to use. So
Yeah.
So if someone then comes to the point where they decide, okay, Shopify is where I want to go, how would you get started with Shopify?
So, they have a free trial available that you can start with. So, I just think like too often we hold ourselves back from even doing a thing because we build it up in our head that it's going to be super hard, or, we don't have the time or whatever it is. But now I don't recommend working from your phone. We've had like only from your phone. We've literally had some clients that just, they don't even have a laptop or a desktop computer. But that's what I'm saying is it's that simple. Like in the middle of the night, you can literally get on your phone, sign up for your free trial and start playing around with the system. Now I recommend doing the rest on your computer, but that's how easy it is. And so yeah, just shopify.com and create your account. And then, I would start with, I would start with thinking about the items that you're going to carry and, building out your collections and menus and pages. There's definitely a lot of information out there on how to do some of these basic things. Even we, on our YouTube channel, we have a lot of tutorials. We also have some paid options as far as courses and things like that. And, but the resources are out there. So, just don't let that hold you back and just dive in. I don't know. That's my tip for everything.
Dive in.
Yeah, totally dive in. Just start doing a little bit of reading, sign up for that trial, and just keep going. Once you take that first step, you will find that this platform is very user friendly, and you can take the next step and the next step. And it's kind of like just taking you through the process. They also have a guide when you first sign up to take you through the first initial steps. So it really is just like a catch-all platform. It's great. And get that account, sign up and check out the resources out there. Everyone has their opinions, and there's a bunch of resources like Angela mentioned. So just dive in and get going.
Yes.
This question wasn't on our list, but if there was like one thing that you feel like some business owners miss when they're setting up their Shopify store for the first time that they should make sure that they do, what would that be?
I'm just going to go with like what came to my head first. I'm sure I could come up with more things, like several more, but one of them is just to take an extra 5 to 10 minutes before you set everything up to just write down, how you want to organize your products that you sell. And for a very beginner where you don't know, I understand that gets a little bit tricky, but, think bigger picture. Because some of the things that you're doing, like when you start uploading products and creating collections and menus and tagging your items, it can, if you just kind of just go all in and just do whatever and aren't organized about it like at all, in the future, there can end up being a lot of cleanup that you have to do when you know more and you're like, you want to get more organized. Now, that said, don't let it stop you if just do the sloppy collect. Here's the other thing is that's one thing I would say, but at the same time, are you going to listen and do it? No, you're going to create sloppy ass collections, and then it's going to bite you in the butt later, like it does with everybody, and you'll learn, and that's the thing about business that's so cool is that's all it is. It's literally a huge game of trial and error over and over and over and over again until you can't take it. No. No, I'm just kidding. It is so amazing, but just go for it. But if you are organized, or you can take that extra time in the beginning to just plot that out, it can really help save time down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to hear yours, Karla.
That's a great point. That is really, really a stellar point and some guidance for everyone that's starting out. To just, take that minute and do that. And I always, when I'm speaking to clients, I'm saying consistency is key. You gotta just, whatever you do it consistently and you'll be okay and you can clean it up, but just be consistent. If you're tagging, always tag it the same way, same writing and so forth.
Yes,
From
yes,
my
yes.
side, probably the thing that most get missed when I like think about stores and setting them up, and when the clients we assisting at the moment, often the legal policies. That one is one that doesn't get populated or pulled in. Now, Shopify does have a resource that they do have a template that you can just pull in and have that available on your site. This is also important from a perspective of running any payment plans. Sezzle requires you to list a privacy policies and the terms of service on your site. So having that activated will ensure that you actually get approved for, should you want to do Sezzle or Afterpay or any of those payment plans. So I find that is one that often doesn't get pulled in. And the locations as well, making sure your location is actually set up correctly, and you give it a username. We find often that it's just the address. I mean, the address is fine, but call it something. Call this is my New York location, or instead of saying it's 1345 So Street. So,
Yeah.
So I find that is probably for me the items that gets most missed in the back end of things.
Yeah, those are totally good ones too. And the location, like, I think people underestimate the importance of adding it. It's not necessarily because you think there's going to be a lot of locals visiting your site, though there may be, it depends on how you're marketing, but it's also just anything that can add to the legitimacy of your business, especially if you're new to the online world. Is just going to be powerful for, customers that hit your website to feel like they can know, like, and trust you and shop with you. So yeah, I love, that's a good one.
Yeah. And anytime you start something new, there's going to be things that you don't know that you don't know.
Oh yes. Yes.
Which is like what you were saying earlier. So,
I mean, our whole agency would not be here if that was not the case, and even, when I very first started, I didn't know 10% of the things that I know now, and I'm so honored to be able to help our clients with all of these things.
Need more? Check out the blog at hotmessblog.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel too. Cheers!